Hey guys, let's talk about what's just basically dropped over the weekend with some changes in languaging from the NDIS about participants' plans. So they've made it really clear now that a participant can only use funds from the same category, so only certain things will be flexible. So they've indicated that only core will be flexible. They've indicated that when funds are accessed for certain services, then the flexibility, it must be exactly the same funding management system. So that means that if, say, core was split between, I don't know, self-managed and agency managed, or self-managed and plan managed, then when it runs out of one, it won't take from the other. It has to then be, so if agency is involved, then the provider needs to be registered to be able to access those funds. So for the other thing that they've talked about is stated items, so things, stated supports. So the participant will get their plan. It might say stated 10 hours of OT for the 12-month plan. They can't then pull some OT funding from allied health, physio, because even though it's under capacity building, they are indicating that it would, if it's stated at 20 hours, that's all there is for that particular service. So once upon a time, when allied health might run out of a little bit of funding and there was plenty in core, there used to be that ability to pull it from core to go into, say, the EP or the physio or the OT or the speechy. It looks like that won't be able to be done anymore. We do know that a lot of people are running out of funding, and the payment integrity team is working really hard and busy checking invoices and asking providers for evidence. So when a participant buys their supports, they are to ensure that they've got enough funding for the supports, that there's a clear communication going on, and the provider should be understanding. They don't have to ask for the plan, but when they get the person to sign the service agreement, they do talk about it and say, okay, so you want me for 10 hours a week, my charges are $67 an hour, so that's going to be $670 for the week. Is that within your budget? And the person signs it and agrees to it. The NDIS is really clear, or the NDIA are really clear, that the service agreement is between the participant and the provider, and it is nothing to do with them. They recommend an agreement just to protect both parties, and both parties should read that agreement. They've always been saying this. The other thing is in relation to GST. So if you're not got a service agreement in place and you earn over the $75,000 mark, then you may not be exempt from paying GST. You can't add GST on. You would have to, so if it's $67 an hour, that GST is included in that price. So you need to be really clear with that, with your budget as well as part of your business. The NDIS have got a few more things that they appear to be changing with relation to the plan framework and the time frame stipulated that the funding is available. So we're anticipating starting to see that roll out anytime in the coming months. And it's really important that everybody's all on the same page. The participant understands what services or supports they can buy, which is their language, and is it an NDIS support? And the providers, it's really important you've got evidence that you actually provided the service and how it relates to their disability, and you've done your risk assessments and all of that to keep the person safe as part of the code of conduct. So there is a lot going on, and there's going to be even more. If you are delivering any form of restrictive practices, or what can be deemed by the NDIS as a restrictive practice, you've got until the 30th of May to get your NDIS application in if you're not NDIS registered. So if you are an independent providing some form of restrictive practices, even a medication that's deemed a restrictive practice, you may need to become registered. So you might want to look into that and be really clear whether you should be getting an application in or not, because you could find that if you don't, you won't get paid. or you might not be able to work with that person. So lots more changes are coming. We do know that after the election, there'll probably be more changes. We do know after the 1st of July, that conversation and mandatory registration will come back up again. So keep an eye on all this, and please, if you're a provider, set your business up properly now, just to save the headache later on down the track, because I've noticed with NDIS, things change just like that, and we're never really clear exactly what it all means until it's implemented. And then sometimes it's implemented, we didn't even know there was a change. So stay up to date. I'm going to share links with this post, so bookmark the links. Keep checking down the bottom the date that it was updated. A lot have been updated just this weekend around the 25th. So, you know, keep an eye on it, and you can follow me if you like for more things. I have things on YouTube as well as in Facebook groups and things like that. All right, you've got this. If you do need help with your business setup, reach out. Our docs and that are on special until the 25th of May. So now's a good time. All right, I'll leave it there. But remember, safeguard your business, safeguard the people you work with, and just keep an eye out for all the changes.